whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
A Manhattan grand jury voted on Thursday to indict former President Donald Trump. The New York Times reports that Trump was indicted in connection with an investigation into a $130,000 hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the final days of the 2016 presidential campaign. Daniels has said she slept with Trump while he was married in 2006. Trump has denied wrongdoing. The charge or charges Trump will face are currently unknown. By the time the indictment is announced, Trump will reportedly have been asked to surrender and face arraignment. According to the U.S. law enforcement editor for the Associated Press, this is a significant event.
This is an unprecedented moment in history. It is the first time a criminal charge has been brought against a former U.S. president.
This is Inside Edition Digital.
Carry guns? You think more guns lead to more death? More guns lead to more death. Look at the data. You're not looking at any data. You're carrying the water for the gun lobby. Look at the data. More guns lead to more deaths. States that have open carry laws have more deaths.
In every school
states that have open carry laws have more deaths.
Never been a shooting.
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah, calm down.
Calm down. Children are dying. 9-year-old children. The solution is not arming teachers. Have you ever worked in a school? 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 It's a yes or no question. Have you ever worked in a school? You will not answer my question. Don't stop and talk to me. Okay, I'll bring it down a notch. Have you ever worked in a school? I worked in the school for 20 years. I was a teen. I was screaming before you came and interrupted me. I worked in the school for 20 years. I worked in school 20 years. I was a teacher. I was a school counselor. I was a middle school principal. I was in cafeterias, protecting kids every day of my career. Clown. He can't even answer a yes or no question. Answer. Why will they pass legislation? Why? Answer the question. Ask him right now. Make him answer.
Are you aware that NLR?
All right, family. What's up? Welcome to another live stream. It is the hottest live stream here on Thursday night. It is Random Topic Thursdays featuring Shawn James. I'm your host with the most, Gavin Richard, aka GBoot2786. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. On channels, if you're watching via channel Gavin Richard on Facebook, on YouTube, of course, GBoot2786, our main channel, and on Twitter. Thank you for tuning in. We, of course, are going to be joined by our brother Shawn James in a second, but of course, I need you to do several things. I need you to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. We also want you, please, if you could, smash up the likes, share like if you like the content. Also, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. as YouTube has put us on a shadow ban. You know, the moment we go live, that way you can actually tune in and find us. Also, we want you to support this channel by donating to the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle as the to support us, as it's not monetized. If you would like to, we have that there. So thank you for the gifts. We're going to go ahead and get ready. Of course, our topic tonight is gun control. Will gun control settle it all? It's a conversation that I'm having with Shawn James, and we're going to be discussing that as what you saw. Also, let's talk about our sponsors, normescreoleblends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Normies goes great with every dish. And check out our Shawn's video, so and got to get on up. Let's bring Shawn into the channel. He is the author of The Man Crisis, as well as The Woman Crisis, as well in the John Haynes series, Nothing to Lose. And I'm about to come on the screen. There we go. Okay. I'm going to bring in our brother, Shawn James. How you doing tonight, Shawn?
I'm fine, Gavin. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You saw, first off, obviously, our conversation, for what you all may see in the image, I was going to be talking about gun control. In particular, what you saw was this video. You saw this last video was Jamaal Bowman, who is a representative out in New York, going at it with Representative Thomas Massie, who's a Republican out of Kentucky, talking about gun control. A former middle school principal, who's Bowman, was telling reporters that Republicans were gutless for not backing gun control laws after this week's shooting, calling them cowards, and that said voters should force them to, quote, respond to the question of how to save America's children, and let them explain that all the way up to Election Day in 2024. Now, Shawn, you saw the video. I want to talk about that, but of course, the biggest thing that came up earlier this evening out of your way in New York, as you all saw the video, is Donald Trump has been indicted. Now, we don't know what Donald Trump has been indicted for. The grand jury's ruling, bill of indictment is sealed, so it has not been released to the public yet. Although what's most likely happened, what we're hearing is that this bookkeeping error or rule, where they're stating that Trump in his tax filings with the state tried to, I guess that's the big rumor, defraud the state. That's what they're alleging, by putting down hush payments that he made to Stormy Daniels as legal expenses, if I'm correct. And that's been what's speculated. However, former attorneys, former prosecutors have all speculated that this is going to be very hard to prove, because with fraud or defrauding, there is an intent element, I believe, that's required. But here's the thing: we don't know what exactly Donald Trump has been indicted on. It has not been made official. And you saw the video. Of course, something I do agree on, CBS News, after it was announced that Donald Trump was being indicted, stated that you're going to see what you saw with the O.J. Simpson case, as well as the Elian Gonzalez media frenzy from the day on. And Trump is the first president to be indicted, former president, I should say, to formally be indicted and charged with the crime. Now, Shawn, you're up in New York, so you got two different things going on: the gun control and Donald Trump. Alan Bragg is the district attorney, I believe, up in Manhattan. And he came back with this indictment. He pushed for this indictment. And I'm going to play just a clip from CBS News, just briefly, just what you saw here. I don't think this is a press conference, but this is what you're going to see. Now, as I look here, let me read it. This is a special report. 2,000.5 likes to 748 dislikes. So you can see here, there are a lot of people who apparently are supporting this on CBS's website. But let's say if we go to Fox News, let's look at this. Look what they have to say.
President Donald Trump has been indicted by a grand jury in New York. Trump was under investigation by the DA's office for his alleged hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels during the 2016 campaign. So as we await more information, Fox News has just learned this from two law enforcement sources that Trump has been indicted.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey,
So you see they're doing a watch outside by the grand jury. So Sean, let's talk about this. You're up in New York. What do you think of this indictment? Personally, we talked about this. I did a poll last time. I didn't think Trump would be formally indicted, or I said if he does so happen to get indicted, he would not be found guilty. I think there was people that voted for that. What do you think about it, Sean?
I think that this whole indictment is politically motivated, and I believe that Alvin Bragg is basically bringing this indictment the same way Kevin Steele brought the indictment against Bill Cosby in an effort to try to elevate his status politically. Because this case really mirrors that of Bill Cosby. We have a prosecutor who I believe is overzealous going after old charges that two previous prosecutors had passed on, and he's deciding to go bring up these charges, and he's bringing them up at a convenient time, which is close to an election, hoping to get as much publicity for himself. Now, he knows that these charges are nothing but a nothing burger, and they're impossible to prove, but what he wants to do is get brownie points with the members of his political party in the hopes of getting a cabinet job with a 2024 Biden administration. So he believes by creating a covert contract with Joe Biden that the blue party will go out here and give him some sort of job as related to a federal position if he can go out here and prosecute Donald Trump on these really weak charges where there clearly wasn't a case that two previous prosecutors passed on, but he's going to go out here and try to play the big hero. And this whole thing, again, is just political theater. It's one big political theater meant to get people scared. And it's not, and I believe Donald Trump and those on the red party aren't even phased because they can see the politics as related to this so-called indictment. Because again, these charges are extremely difficult to prove in a court of law. I mean, you have to prove intent as related to fraud, and this is very hard to prove. And again, you've got a black prosecutor going after a white man. So I'm looking at Alvin Bragg, and I'm not seeing this ending very well for him politically overall, because he's looking at this trying to get himself some crumbs from the master's table. But this case is so weak that it's just going to blow up in his face. But he really wants to do is, again, discourage Donald Trump from running for president and try to put doubt in people's minds. But what it's actually going to do is make more people more galvanized to support Trump, because if they can prove that these charges do not stand, it actually makes Donald Trump even stronger. And that's what the two previous prosecutors realized back in 2016. They realized going after Donald Trump with these charges, and if they're weak, they can't prove them, it would make him even stronger. And Alvin Bragg doesn't understand this because black bootlicks don't understand things, because they're just thinking, I'm going to get brownie points with white people, not understanding bootlick is a job without a retirement plan. And because he's not planning for retirement, he doesn't understand that by going and getting this indictment, he's halfway out the door. Because Alvin Bragg, basically, again, looking for those brownie points, is still thinking, oh, if I go out here and get Trump the same way Kevin Steele thought he would get Bill Cosby and Marsha Clark thought she would get O.J. Simpson, all they're doing is thinking about their career as related to the future, not thinking about how what they're doing now is going to impact later. So I'm looking at these charges again, and they're very hard to prove charges. And it could be the end of not Donald Trump, but it could possibly be the beginning of the end of Alvin Bragg's political career.
Well, let me say this too. Let me just play this clip. I think they're talking to an attorney there. I'm not quite familiar with who he is, but let me just play the clip.
Sources, what have you learned? Under seal by the Manhattan DA could be announced in the coming days. It would also mean that Donald Trump would be asked to surrender and face arraignment on charges yet to be announced. It is all related to the hush money payment made to former porn star Stormy Daniels.
All right, I'm sorry, guys. We got kicked out. Uh, Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi was kicking out. But essentially, what they're saying is that Alvin Bragg is not. I'm going to finish the video right quick. I'm not going to be too long with it. But Bragg was not focusing just on the Michael Cohen's testimony. Michael Cohen was the former attorney and fixer for Donald Trump, and this is what this.
That he will be, if there's a trial, someone who questions Cohen's credibility. So this could be a tough case for the district attorney in Manhattan, Alvin Bragg, to make, but he believes the evidence is there. And sources tell CBS News that Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, is not just relying on Michael Cohen's testimony, that he has been slowly and methodically building a case based on financial documents, personal correspondence, to tell a broader story, not just about Stormy Daniels, but about other so-called catch and kill operations to stop stories seen as unsavory from being published during the presidential campaign.
Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan district attorney, will now negotiate with Trump's lawyers to negotiate this surrender. Could that mean that the former president of the United States will be photographed and fingerprinted in the bowels of a New York State courthouse?
Yes, while this is a highly unusual historic situation, our sources in the Manhattan district attorney's office in operations say that the former president would be brought in like anyone else who was indicted. We will see him surrender to authorities. Exactly how that plays out could be negotiated in terms of whether there's a walk or seeing the former president in handcuffs. But he will be fingerprinted regardless of any negotiation, and there will be an arraignment in open court.
The only difference in terms of how other people would be treated, of course, Donald Trump will have his Secret Service in tow. Quite an extraordinary moment just to imagine all of that. We don't know at this.
Here's my thing. Well, yes, we don't know what exactly he's being charged with, but here's my whole 2 cents with it too, Shawn. You have the elections coming up next year. He's already announced that he's going to run for president. I don't see, this is my opinion, the Democrats surviving 2024 in the White House. I realistically don't see that. And
I don't see it either.
right. And I think especially too, Joe Biden's age is playing a factor. Just the nature of this country right now with inflation going up. You have rising gas prices just like we did when Bush was president. You have food prices going up. You also have this situation with our, losing people in our military in terms of it going down, the numbers going down. Then the calls for gun control that we see now, especially in wake of the school shootings. There is nothing. I don't see, like I said again, how they survive this. But here's the thing: as I stated before to people, you can settle as an attorney if you represent somebody and there's pending litigation. Parties can agree and negotiate on anything that's legal as long as it's legal. So if he wanted to pay someone money, like Stormy Daniels, to be silent about any affairs that they may have had because it would hurt his campaign, that in and of itself is not a crime. What they're trying to say is, I guess the aspect, and my understanding in the news media is that he did it illicit? Is that he took it? Is it that the Trump organization paid it and they wrote it off as an expense, a legal expense? Am I correct in understanding that?
Yeah, he's trying to say that he did this with as a tax deduction, as a business
Yes, as a
expense.
deduction, right? And to give you everybody a secret, especially if you own a business, you do your very best to try not to pay as much taxes as you can. You'd be a fool if you weren't able to write something off that you could and for your taxes. So any miscellaneous things, which I'm doing my taxes now for this year, anything that's miscellaneous, your food and entertainment, gas, your travel, mileage, hotel stays, you can use that as deductions. You can use that. So legal expenses, if he paid his attorney to try and handle something that was, to prevent a fiasco, and he's paying it through his attorney. I'm trying to see how is that illegal? Plus, now I don't know of course, I don't know New York law and the statute. Plus, there's an intent element that they have to prove if he was defrauding the state of New York. What was his intent? Did he intentionally do it? I spoke about this before, Shawn. There's an actus rea and a mens rea. Mens rea is the element, mental element. Actus rea is the act. So did he specifically intend to defraud New York? They may have a hell of a time trying to prove that. And I'll hang my coat there and I'll let you get the last word if you have something to say on it.
Well, I'd have to say that that's a very high standard for proof, and I don't think they have enough evidence there to prove it. But what they want to do is basically like go out here and try to make the case in the court of a public opinion, like they did with Bill Cosby. They want to make Donald Trump into a bad guy and try to discourage people for voting for him. So what they want to do is try to dissuade people from voting for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidency with these charges. And the goal here is to try to discredit Donald Trump. And again, this is the same dirty game that they played in Pennsylvania with Bill Cosby. Kevin Steele played the same game, but I don't think it's going to end very well for Alvin Bragg if he goes along with this, because this very weak case actually weakens the entire Blue Party, because people now see that they cannot trust the Blue Party, because they'll go to any sort of compromised ethics to win at any cost.
Yeah. Most definitely. Look, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of Democrats, did you see the video I showed, obviously, of Representative Bowman going at it with Massie? Of course, in the wake of the Nashville shooting at the Covenant School up in Nashville, there have been calls now for Congress to act to put in gun control laws. We heard former president, we heard the president, Joe Biden, calling for stricter gun control. They want to ban assault weapons, particularly AR-15, and that is not what that stands for. AR-15 stands for Armalite. That's the company that made AR-15s. And and now, of course, the Democrats don't run the House. The Republicans do. So more than likely, no bill would actually be passed, even in spite of these things. But everybody has not noticed, there is a pattern with these mass shootings. Whenever they're targeting, a mass shooter is targeting a school, a movie theater, or a church. What do they all have in common? All of the victims are unarmed and vulnerable as such. You can't, by law, bring a gun, obviously, same thing with the nightclubs. You can't bring a gun in a nightclub that's like in Louisiana if it sells alcohol. You can't bring a gun into a movie theater. They have signs saying that they'll trespass you. You can't bring a firearm into a church unless you get permission from a priest or deacon here in Louisiana. You certainly can't bring it on school grounds. And you saw Representative Bowman yelling back and forth with Representative Massie. And Bowman I don't think he's your representative from your district, but he is from your state of New York, Shawn. your hometown, and I wanted to know, what do you think? Do you think gun control is going to stop this stuff? Because I'm seeing even more people protesting. This was out in Nashville uh, earlier at their state capitol. There were parents who rallied seeking for more gun control laws, demanding. I'm going to play a little bit of it right here. This is from CBS News.
What do we want? Gun control! Now! Gun control! Now! Gun control! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Gun control! What do we want? Gun control! What do we want it? Now! What do we want? Gun control! What do we want it? Now! Gun control! Now! Now! Gun control! Gun control! Gun control! Now! Gun control! Now! Gun control!
You see people with signs saying it's the guns, gun control now, ban assault weapons. The problem with it, let me say this: I respect people's rights to their opinion, but I will say these are people I'm willing to bet that have never been to a gun range. Uh, they don't know the difference between an AR-15 and an M16, which is the actual weapon that the military use, especially their rifles. That's the type of guns they use. AR-15 is a semi-automatic weapon. A 12 gauge shotgun actually can do more damage than an AR-15, especially a 12 gauge gun, Remington 87 with 3/4 steel buckshot. But Shawn, when you see this, did you see Representative did you see Bowman yelling at Massie?
I missed that footage, but I
I'll play
can.
it again if you need me to.
All right.
Now I want y'all to know this is on his. This is
More guns lead
this is
to more
courtesy
death.
of his story file. So somebody was recording this for him.
Look at the data. You're not looking at any data. You're carrying the water for the gun lobby. Look at the data. More guns lead to more deaths. States that have open carry laws have more deaths.
In every school
States that have open carry laws have more deaths.
Never been a shooting.
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Calm down.
Calm down,
He's a
children.
beta.
9-year-old children. The solution is not arming teachers. Have you ever worked in a school? 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 It's a yes or no question. Have you ever worked in a school? You will not answer my question. Don't stop and talk to me. Okay, I'll bring it down a notch. Have you ever worked in a school? I worked in the school for 20 years. I was a team. I was screaming before you came and interrupted me. I worked in the school for 20 years. I worked in school 20 years. I was a teacher. I was a school counselor. I was a middle school principal. I was in cafeterias, protecting kids every day of my career. Proud. He can't even answer a yes or no question. Answer. Why will they pass legislation? Why? Answer the question. Ask him right now. Make him answer.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
Well,
So Shawn, I wanted to say I'm trying to find it, but on Twitter, I think you had something. You told a congressman a few choice words.
yeah, I told Adam Schiff to sit his ass down.
Man, sit your ass. I knew you were going to take a. So you took a critical examination of him sitting his ass down.
No, that's what he needs to do on this whole argument about gun control, because from my over a decade of research on beta males, I can tell you that it's not a gun control issue. It is a family issue. The reason why we're seeing all of these mass shootings has to do with the over 60 years of feminism and the just complete collapse of the American family. And the reason why we're seeing all of these mass shootings is because of the just complete collapse of the American family. But many of these blue party politicians don't want to talk about that because they know it was their policies like no fault divorce and the complete breakup of the American family through the welfare state that created these socially engineered dysfunctional adults who go out here and participate in these mass shootings. And if you look at the statistics, it clearly shows a rise in mass shootings that correlates with all of the complete collapse of the American family, which further gets worse as we get into the 1990s when Joe Biden introduced his crime bill and his assault weapons ban. Because during the time of the crime bill and the assault weapons ban, that's where we started to see a further increase in mass shootings, in spite of all of these laws banning these assault weapons. We saw an increase in mass shootings. This is where we saw several postal workers participating in mass shootings. This is where we saw the Oklahoma City bombing, which I consider to be the same as a mass shooting because it's the same reasoning for this type of mass murder. And this is where we saw the Columbine shooting. This is where we started to see a uptick in these shootings. And as the 2000s went on, we saw a further rise in these mass shootings. And it continues to go on as related to this violence, which increases because as we've gone on, the family continues to deteriorate. And nobody wants to talk about the part as related to the family with this current mass shooting that happened in Nashville, because the reason for that mass shooting really is based in the complete collapse of this young lady's family, because she sat there, she wanted to be a part of the alphabet community. Her Christian family didn't support her, and because she didn't have that support from her family and did not have any options as related to moving out on her own, this is what led to her becoming frustrated and angry and exploding in that rage, where she participated in this mass shooting, which was basically a suicide by cop. But they don't want to talk about that part. Many in the alphabet community don't even want the manifesto to come out because it basically proves all of the points that I made in my book, The Man Crisis and The Woman Crisis. No, they want to deflect and get into an argument about gun control when it wasn't an issue of gun control, because we've had guns in this country. And in the 1950s, when we had guns, we had gun training classes. But one thing we had was fathers in the home and stable homes.
You had high school rifle teams. You had Boy Scout merit badges. You could.
But you had a family that supported these kids, and that's why those kids did not go out here and participate in mass shootings. No, nobody wants to talk about the violence and what causes the violence, which is a collapse of the American family. But nobody want to talk about that. Those politicians, they want to talk about the guns and banning guns, when it's not the guns that are killing people. It is people who have no sense of purpose, no sense of direction, and they have no sense of purpose or direction because they have no family. But nobody want to talk about that. No, they want to make it into a gun control debate, which is a deflection from all of the policies that the left created as related to breaking up the family. They don't want to hold themselves accountable for all of the things that they did by breaking up the family. They don't want to talk about those things. And again, all silent as related to that young woman and the problem she was having with her family. They don't want to talk about that because investing in the family means that you cannot go out here and make an easy solution like talking about banning guns. Because again, if you look at history, what has caused all these mass shootings, that in the 90s, we had an assault weapons ban in place, but the numbers continued to go up. And the numbers are going up basically because of the collapse of the American family. And that's what I know from my experience doing my research for my book, The Man Crisis.
Yeah. And I think, Shawn, when we talk about gun control, first off, is you have to clarify, like when he says, when you listen to Bowman, he made the remark that cities that have more open carry laws have more deaths, which is outright lie. The way he says it, first off, open carry means I get to open carry my gun. That's what that means. The very definition, open carry, it's visible. Where there's a concealed carry, which is you get a permit from that, you can carry your gun without having to disclose that. Yeah, in certain states they do have open carry laws, but and yes, there are more people do die from gun deaths. However, if you look at it, you also have to factor in number one, how many of those were bad guys killing bad guys? How many were justified shootings? You also have to ask the question, what were the firearms used? Most of them are not AR-15s. Number one, most of them involve handguns because why? They're easily concealable. You have crimes that are taking place. And let's also talk about this fact. We're talking about disarm. You're talking about banning AR-15s, but not the. And you want to defund the police at the same time. Who do you think will help you if you defund the police who can't stop crime in the first place? That's not what cops do. They respond to it. Once the act has taken place, is when they respond to it, just like you saw with the mass shooter. And sadly, while they did get the shooter, they did it after the 6 people died, including 3 children. So, what we should be talking about, if we're not talking about arming teachers, which I'm not necessarily in favor of, what about security guards in schools? Because this person shot up uh, a school, shot through a side door that was locked. While they had their alarms going off, nobody was there to protect them. They were vulnerable.
And she chose the school with the least amount of security. She chose people who couldn't fight back.
Well, it's even speculated that Audrey Hale, and I believe she wanted to be a man or something like that. Hale, according to what they say, Hale actually went to that school, if I'm not mistaken, before. And it's alleged, I'm hearing reports that she may have been targeting, I don't know if it's true, targeting that pastor's family because one of the kids shot was the child of a pastor, if I'm not, from what I read. So there are people that have said that. Have you heard that one?
Well, I've heard speculation on that, but I believe that she definitely had a grudge against somebody at that school, and I believe that she had a grudge because her life wasn't working out the way she expected. Because she thought at 28 years old she's going to come out of art school and live big, but that doesn't work that way in the art business. I mean, as somebody who's been working with comics for many years, I can tell you that it's a long road. So you're going to be doing a lot of commissions and stuff for years for low pay in the hopes of getting a break. But this woman didn't understand that. She just thought, oh, I'm just going to walk in here, come out of art school, which is one of the worst things you could do, is think you're going to come out of art school and make big money. And she thought she was going to come out here, and then life just turned out. It didn't work the way she expected. She wanted to be alternative and live this alphabet lifestyle. Not understanding when you're in a Christian conservative area like Nashville, the only thing you can do in that area is move out. I've heard from many alphabet people, they say, look, I just got to move out and be on your own. But she didn't want to go out here and take that responsibility. And then she just wanted to go. She just was angry and frustrated about the state of her life. And I guess she wanted to go out here and make somebody a scapegoat, but they won't release the manifesto so we can get a clearer picture, because the manifesto will give us the clearest picture. But there are members of the alphabet community that don't want it to come out because they don't want certain things to come out as related to their narratives.
Yeah. Well, that might be the case, Shawn. Yeah, she probably failed at school, at life, and she decided that she wanted to go and target the most innocent. Now,
Yeah.
I want to point out the most innocent were these kids. She also, and of course, the teachers and the janitor that was killed as well. And that's who we really should be focusing on. We shouldn't be focusing on this coward, but we are fast. America is fixated with things like this, with violence. And, you know, I do want to point this out because this is Inside Edition. They did an update earlier this afternoon. They said before this report was broadcast, Inside Edition requested a comment from the Covenant School in connection with a statement by its former pastor, Jim B. Bachman, excuse me, that he had heard the shooter, Audrey Hale, had been counseled by its current pastor, Chad Scruggs, and that Scruggs may have been targeted by Hale. After the report was broadcast, we received a statement on behalf of the Covenant School, which stated in part that the information that Hale was being counseled by Scruggs was inaccurate and based on hearsay. So they're saying it is not true.
Chad, if she'd have tried to kill him, maybe she'd have left the daughter alone.
The former pastor also revealed he knew Audrey Hale when she attended the school nearly 20 years ago.
She was a very normal, happy-go-lucky little girl that liked to play kickball with the boys.
And
Stop! I don't want them. I don't want to play the video because they'll YouTube sent me out an email, long email stating that my video promoted violence and such. They were going to put a disclaimer on it, even though you can watch the full thing. And they stated publicly that they're going to leave the videos up of the actual shooting of the body camera footage because of public information. The public wanted to see it, so they left it up. So I don't know why I'm getting a notification for that, but I wanted to just point that out. Really goes to show how suicidal they are. Their children, their future, they are willing to sacrifice their own children to keep their gun. God, laugh out loud. It's quite bizarre. Well, I'm going to tell you something, brother. Don't disarm yourselves. Look, you can do more damage with a shotgun than an AR-15. Trust me. Because I'll just put it to you like this. When you ban the AR-15s, let's say you're going to have more shootings now involving shotguns. People are going to call for that to be banned. And then after the shotguns, they got a lot of people that call for 357. People are going to be more shootings with 357s and 9mm and 1911s. They're going to call for a ban on that too. It's not going to stop.
No, it's not going to stop. And they will. And if they can't find guns,
the Virginia Tech shooter used handguns. He didn't use
pistols. They'll use anything as a weapon. I mean, if they can't get a gun, they'll get a knife. If they can't get a knife, they'll go and do like Tim McVeigh and Terry Nichols and build a bomb. People don't understand. And these betas they'll use anything as a weapon because they want to get the attention.
Yeah, I mean, they'll use anything. I mean, the bomb. I mean, they had a guy that killed people. I think out in somewhere in Europe. If I'm not mistaken, there was a terrorist attack about 5-6 years ago. Guy used the van and was rolling over people.
There was a guy in Canada who did the same thing. He used the van. One guy used a truck.
Yeah, you kill anybody, man.
I have done so many videos on these stories, and I know that these guys will use anything as a weapon. These shooters, because for them it's about the attention. For them it's about getting that people paying attention to them. So they want to get as much, they want to go out in a blaze of infamy, and it doesn't matter what weapon they use. It's all about the attention for them.
Yeah. Look, I want to move on to our next topic. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. If you love this channel, you love what we're doing, I need you to please, please, please smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Smash up the likes, hit that like, share, and subscribe button now. Also, check out my book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Kindle, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. You can support Shawn James at the Cash App, Shawn S. James, yes. The guns aren't going anywhere. They are fine with the carnage. They'll make some monetary noise about how horrified they were, but then it'll be right back to business as usual. Nothing will happen. America was built on stolen land. So you never, like KRS One said, you'll never get justice on stolen land. Not real justice. All right. So I talked about that. I wanted to talk about this too now. Jonathan Majors, Shawn, you did a video about Jonathan, I believe, and how he got arrested up in New York for an altercation with his girlfriend. Jonathan released some damning text messages between Majors and his girlfriend. Now, this is coming from courtesy, of course, we don't like them, but via TMZ, and Variety is sharing this. The attorneys for Jonathan Majors released text messages on Thursday that he claims come from the same woman who accused him of assaulting her, in which she appears to take the blame for the fight. According to the messages, which have not been verified independently, the woman wrote to Majors afterwards and said, I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. She also said that she was angry that Majors had been arrested and that she had made clear that the charges did not have her blessing. I reiterated how this was not an attack, the woman allegedly wrote. The person who sent the text also indicates that she had injuries and that, quote, we had a fight. Now, you go on TMZ. Now, this is Variety. They shared this. But if you go on TMZ, Jonathan Majors, I believe they actually have the supposed text messages where she's admitting fault. Now, Major's lawyer, Priya Chaudhry, tells TMZ the woman in question sent a few texts to the Creed 3 actor after hours from his arrest last weekend, admitting that she was the one who used physical force against him. So these are the alleged texts. Y'all can read. Sorry, man. I keeps giving me this problem. So I'm sorry. We were talking about the text messages from Jonathan Majors. These are the text messages, Shawn, and it looks like she's trying to take fault for what happened because she started the altercation. She actually, what this was that Jonathan supposedly was getting text messages from another girl, and his girlfriend, who they've shown pictures of, obviously wanted to know was calling him or texting him, to which she snatched the phone. And that's how the altercation started. And that's what they talk about in these text messages here. She said, I told him it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of the hospital. Just call me when you're out. I love you. They just called again to check on me, and I reiterated how this was not an attack and they did not have my blessings on charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation. I said point blank, this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She ensured this to me. I know you have the best team and there's nothing to worry about. I just want you to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. I also said to tell the police to know that the origin of the call was to do with me collapsing and passing out, and your worry as my partner due to our communication prior. Out of care. She promised all will be relayed. All right, Shawn. Let me just say too, guys, it's the state that presses the charges. You don't need the alleged victim to do so. It's the state that brings them. It's just like what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock. If Will Smith's legal team, if the police wanted to arrest Will Smith then and there, they didn't need Chris Rock's permission when he slapped him on live TV. They could have done it immediately if they wanted to. But you look at this, Shawn, these text messages, they do it, obviously, do some good for Mr. Majors, but obviously it depends on what his legal team can do, and also what the judge or jury would believe in a case like this.
Well, I look at this whole Jonathan Majors mess, and it just Professor Black Truth made this right thing when he said you got to watch the company you keep. And Jonathan Majors, sadly, was keeping some bad company with an insecure woman, and this insecure woman basically it looked like she's about to mess up his career and mess up his bag. And my whole advice for Jonathan Majors is it's time to get himself a new woman. It's time to get rid of this woman because she went out here and let her insecurities get the better of her, not understanding that this man is just at the height of his career. And at the height of his career, he doesn't need to be involved with a toxic, insecure woman who just gets caught up in her feelings over some text messages, because a guy like Jonathan Majors is going to be getting text messages from a lot of women, like administrative assistants and other people like his agent's assistant. And if this woman is going crazy over a text message, then she doesn't have any discipline. So I say, Jonathan Majors, it's time to go get you a new woman and get rid of this one, because this one cannot come with you as related to moving your career forward. Because if she's going to start getting in her feelings about about a text message on a phone, then it's just time to leave her behind. And if this is the case, again, it shows that there was no domestic violence, just another insecure woman. And when you're dealing with an insecure woman like this, what you do, even if you do get out of this whole mess and you're able to get cleared, is you clear this woman out of your life, charge her to the game, and keep it moving.
Charge it to the game and keep it moving. Yeah. Jonathan Majors is a man that's moving up in the world, and honestly, he can do better than this. Judging from the pictures of who this woman is, I look if this is her, uh, you know, he's gonna lose everything to that.
Yeah, send her back to Pookie and Ray Ray, or I think whoever. Just send her back to them, because if you can't deal with a man being on the phone with different women in the entertainment industry, then you're not cut out for this business, because you're going to be because he's going to have a lot of different phone calls from assistants and agents and all these other people. This is going to happen all the time if you're in the business.
Right.
So if you can't handle him getting text messages, then you're in the wrong business, and it's just time for you to go back down to Pookie and Ray Ray or whoever she was involved with, all these little low tier guys, because high value men have a lot of contacts. So it's time for him to get rid of her and go get himself a quality woman.
That's his woman.
Yeah.
He's in jail over plain Jane.
Yeah. The homely white girl. It's time for him to just get rid of her. She's shown that she can't come with you.
Uh-uh. You're the villain of Marvel's The Avengers. You're the main villain. You're about to get a multi-million-dollar payday. Domestic violence is no joke. You're right. But damn it, but here's the thing. All people are innocent till proven guilty. Sorry, y'all. I keep licking my lips like LL Cool J. I just see I'm dry on screen. Like, damn, is my shit that white in the corner? Excuse me. LL Cool, like I said, you're innocent till proven guilty. These are serious allegations. She's recanting now what happened, allegedly, if it's verified, it's her. He's on his way up, and he can get any woman he wants. Obviously, you're hot. You're hot. You got money coming. He's going to attract women. And she had an episode. Apparently, it's been reported. She went through some episodes. She collapsed. He called 911. And only because the cops saw what appeared to be injuries on her neck, that's when they had to arrest somebody, which that does typically happen. Now, his lawyers are pretty good. I think he might be able to beat the case and it'll be settled out, but he's going to take a reputational hit, because even with that, there are still going to be people that say you did it. You did something. Cut plain Jane loose. That's what I say.
Yep, send her back to the streets.
I think she's from Germany or something. Send her
Yeah,
back.
send her back to them German streets for some Baumskin and some lederhosen.
I don't. Yeah. Gut, man. Gut. Send her back. Set the Fräulein back. Yeah, Fräulein. Watched a lot of Indiana Jones. Ugh. They don't even name her, which I think that's the issue. How you accuse somebody? I mean, I get they like to protect, but she should be named.
Yeah, her name should be out there.
Yeah. And I mean, he's lost. The Army has pulled his ads that he had run. He had several ads that were there. The Department of Defense, the Army spokesman for the Army announced that they were pulling the ads as a result of it. Yeah, he should. He definitely has. I mean, and look, if it's proven that everything was false, he might have a good case against. He might have some legal ramifications he can assess against her. You never know. The last thing, Shawn, I want to talk about was Steve Harvey. I don't know if you saw this, but Steve Harvey was speaking. I don't know where, but I think it was somewhere. He talked about Black Americans. I guess the topic came up and how Africans didn't steal from Black folks. We stole from them. And with that, he's talking about music, for instance, like hip hop, rap, and so forth. Because you know there's been controversy about in the last couple of years, which I don't see how there could be controversy over it, but about Black people creating hip hop. They try to say it was Africans. People say Jamaican, like Busta Rhymes tried to say, or he did say it was Jamaicans and how it came from the dance halls and so forth. Now you got Steve, Mr. Hightower, with his sunglasses on, trying to tell your ass how them Africans, they didn't steal nothing from us. We stole from their ass. You see, y'all don't know what y'all done did. I want to play this right here for y'all. Yeah, y'all got to take a good listen at it, damn it. Y'all got to listen to what your ass need to listen to what I got to say.
From us. They talk about Burna Boy stole this. No, we stole from Burna Boy. Them Africans is us, man. They the beat, they the rhythm, they the soul, they the hard work. We get our courage from them. When you see them people, they look just like your family. I was walking down Johannesburg. I thought I was in Detroit.
What up,
They
though?
walk like us. They look like us. They got moves like us. It's just, you got to see it. And we got to, my goal is to help bridge this gap because we got to touch base with them because they love y'all, man. You don't even know. They think y'all to catch me out. They think y'all to lick. You know why? Because they know what you went through. They know where them slave ship picked you up at. They know they brought you to a land. They know what they did to you. And y'all still over here shining. If we take this shine back over there and give them the love and teach them that dust, we'd have a powerful union, man. That has to happen.
Nah. What your ass say? That's what I would tell Steve. Your ass, you got me all fucked up, Steve Harvey. You came up here saying Black people stole from Burna Boy. I don't even know who the damn Burna Boy is. But we give these celebrities clout and allow them to speak on our behalf. Steve Harvey is a stand-up comedian. Now, nothing wrong with that, obviously, but what does he know about how does he and who does he get to speak for black people for saying we stole from them. He has a right to his opinion, but like most people, especially when they don't pick up a book or read and learn history, they tend to say stuff that makes no damn sense. What Steve Harvey said here was completely foolish. You look at our history first. If you study hip hop came from Black Americans. And while you talk about Africa, and there's nothing wrong with Africa and Africans, but let's remember this. You did have, especially when you talk about slavery, and let's not forget Steve Harvey was the same man who said on his show he didn't give a damn for slavery. Remember that?
Nope.
You remember that, Shawn?
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't give a damn about slavery. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care for it. He told a white woman that. Now, Eddie Griffin was one of my favorite comedians, had something to say about Africans, and we talk about going back to Africa. And I'm not saying that we can't go back to the motherland and enjoy things about the motherland, about Africa, because it's some of the beautiful it's some of the places that have the most beautiful cultures, beautiful women, artifacts and stuff. But we all know, and this is what Eddie Griffin.
That was real nice of y'all.
Years of smoke.
I'd like to take this time to thank you Caucasian people for inviting us here to America. That was real nice of y'all. You know, y'all laughing, I'm serious in a motherfucker. Because I watched the Discovery Channel, and Africa ain't a place a nigga really want to be right now. Them motherfuckers over there starving, hungry, and I'm staying right here in America where I can get a bucket of chicken for $3.95. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the dumb shit, man. Because you always see them starving kid commercials, them Africans look like they've been eating powdered donuts all around their mouth and shit, flies all around their damn head. I'm watching last night, one of them had a fly on his eyeball. On his goddamn eyeball. I'm sitting there yelling at the TV set, blink, motherfucker! Blink! I know they weak and everything, but goddamn, get the fly off. Fly just roller skating around and shit. I'm telling you now, you stink. I'm not the only one shitting. Look at you. You're taller than your black man in this room. And when we was like, what? What the fuck? That's how it was? You know what I'm saying? Remember? White people, y'all remember? The next day, we came to school and beat the shit out of y'all. I know that's a...
Eddie Griffin had a whole joke. Yeah, he had a whole set. It was longer than that, but one of the things he talked about during slavery, they talked about going back to Africa, and that was the joke. He said, I ain't seen one African with a canoe and a spear coming over to save us during slavery. Now, there's some truth to that, because there was always, I guess you could say, disconnect, especially with Black Americans in some degrees to the motherland, to Africa, especially in those nations, and how some of them don't consider us as one of their own. But not to get into that, and I'm not trying to attack Africans or anything like that, but you have Steve Harvey trying to speak on this stuff and defending Burna Boy, who I don't even, hell if I know who he is. But did we steal from Africans? I say no. Shawn, what do you say?
I have to call BS on saying that black people stole from Africans to create rap and hip hop, because I was there when rap and hip hop was created. When I was a kid back in the 70s and early 80s, I saw rap and hip hop being created in the South Bronx, and the Africans and the West Indians really didn't want anything to do with the brothers out there. when we were making rhythm and poetry. When we were making rhythm and poetry, the foundations of rap and hip hop, most people didn't want anything to do with black people. So for him to sit there and say, oh, it came from Africans, no, it did not come from Africans. No, Africans didn't want anything to do with rap and hip hop. No, what Steve Harvey is doing here is looking to try to help take away from the contributions of foundational black Americans to a musical art form. And that in and of itself shows me that Steve Harvey is another one of these black bootlicks we just cannot trust, because only a black bootlick is going to go out here and try to minimize the contributions of foundational black Americans to a music form that was created right here in the South Bronx, because it was right here in the South Bronx where we had rappers going out here and making this music, and they were making this music out here in the South Bronx in places like Sedgwick Avenue, and it was being played all over the South Bronx. So he's sitting up here trying to minimize our contributions to a musical art form we created. And that just shows me that, again, we can't trust these old Negroes, because these old Negroes, what they want to do is continue getting their bread from their white slave masters. And they'll go out here and throw the entire black community under the bus. And this is a textbook example of throwing black people under the bus, which shows me Steve Harvey ain't nothing but a race traitor and somebody we can't trust in the future.
This is the video that I wanted to play just so everybody knows what I was quoting from. This is.
Please stop saying this shit. Why don't you go back to Africa? What? How the fuck we gonna go back to some shit we ain't never been to? Y'all act like we born with maps of that motherfucker in our head. Like we'll just land over there. Take me to Shambuku's house. Now go down 3 elephants, make a left at the line. The nigga over there, he over there. We don't ask y'all to go back to England. Y'all ain't from this motherfucker either. Yeah, so why don't you go to bloody England? Go on and go, cocksucker. I ain't going back to Africa. No. Because some of them Africans do not like us. Black Americans, they can't stand us. From the East Coast, you know what I'm talking about. I was in D.C. on tour, right? First time I went there. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to go out and see the city. So I jumped in the cab, because, you know, nigga was broke at the time. Wasn't no TV show or limo, nigga. It was taxi. So I wanted to go see the White House, the Capitol, the Internal Revenue Service building. Just in case they overtax a nigga, I know what building to blow the fuck up. So I'm in the cab. The motherfucking cab driver had the audacity to turn around and say, "You're not too rich, you know, black man." You want to run that by me again, bro? I said, "You're not too rich, you know, black man." I said, "How black I gotta be, motherfucker? Just because you one of the niggas that got away?" Because white people, when y'all ancestors came to pick us up, y'all wasn't looking for little bony brothers. Y'all was looking for big, cotton-picking motherfuckers. And them little bony ones over in Africa set us up. You don't want me. Look at me, cough all the time, got one nut. Shambuku over there, big and strong. Me seen him pick up a whole oak tree by himself. I help you catch him. I'm sitting in the back getting mad, the motherfucker. I said, "Who winning in this situation, motherfucker? You driving me to the White House." When he pulled in front of the White House, he looked in the back seat. All he seen was an open door. I was gone. Didn't pay for shit. Yelled back at the cab. Now go back to Africa and tell them how a nigga done your ass wrong. You uppity motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why they mad at us. If anybody should be mad, we should be mad at their ass. You know what I'm saying? I give white people props on this. When y'all have hostages, y'all go get them. I don't give a fuck if it's 2. You'll have meetings. Look here, Jim, Bob and Susie are trapped. It's over in the Middle East now. We're going to have to go over there. You sure you want to cause an international incident over 2 people? I don't give a good goddamn if it's 1. They're white, we're white. By God, go get them. They're Americans. Bring them home. Technically, we've been hostages in this country for 450 years. Not one canoe with a nigga with a spear has shown up to pick us the fuck up.
That's Eddie Griffin, who came up with that. And you know, a lot of I remember even when Smokey Robinson did a special, well, not a special, he did a poem on Def Poetry Jam talking about black, am I black? And he talking about how he wasn't from Africa and all of this stuff. And you know, I didn't care for it at that time, but now when I look at it, I understood what he was talking about. And how if you go watch that on Def Poetry, I think I showed it before with Def Poetry Jam, Smokey Robinson, you would enjoy that. But what did Shawn? What do you think? This last thing, I didn't think Eddie Griffin told no lies in that at all. Eddie is the truth. But I think that Steve Harvey, as y'all know, Steve Harvey, he always says stuff. He's not somebody that I would go take advice from, damn sure relationship advice, when he's on his third marriage. And he's talking about how black people stole from them. How we steal something that was created in America. Does that make sense?
Makes no logical sense to me.
We were stolen Africans. Generation to generation passed down. And you look at the music, the history of music from men like James Brown, Chuck Berry, Michael Jackson, Prince. Little Richard, countless, Muddy Walters, countless others. We weren't called African American until the 80s. That's right. Well, that started with Jesse Jackson. Like Afro-American, African American, that's where that started from. When he was running for president. But yeah, Steve Harvey, your ass, see, your ass done got us all fucked up, Steve. Because this didn't make no damn sense. You don't have a clue. Y'all don't know what y'all done did. You got all of America, black America, fucked up, Steve. Yeah. You can't rely on Steve Harvey.
Nope, can't rely on any of these
international money. Steve, well, let me just say this in closing. Steve Harvey's trying to get that international money. Steve Harvey, he's the host of Family Feud, not just in the United States, but he also does Family Feud in South Africa, which, by the way, my understanding, they're still suffering from apartheid to this day. They still have issues there. The whites still control stuff. Look what happened to those kids in that pool. That video we talked about back in December. When they got out of the pool and held those kids, I think at gunpoint at one time. Well, they were fighting them, being violent. Trying to get them out of there.
Yep.
You know better than us. And I know a lot of some of these Africans, especially that come over here. I'm not saying it's all of them, but I knew some who looked down, especially when I was at Southern. They had a professor who always took his time to bash black men. You are lazy. You have nothing because you can do nothing. You don't put the effort and the work in. You do not do this. The black man lazy, like white man lazy. White man busy, black man lazy. I always took time to bash brothers. and we paying his freaking salary. You're teaching at our school, and you're saying this shit. Yeah,
No respect for us.
no respect. Look what happened with Kevin Hart when he went over to Egypt. He was going to do a show, and he called Egypt the land of. He said Egypt had black people in it. They immediately, and that's Arabs that are in there. They immediately canceled the show because they said he disrespected Egypt, the country of Egypt. Really? Yeah, y'all got to pay attention to stuff, man. Y'all better stop listening to a lot of these celebrities. They don't have a clue. Have no damn clue. I'm gonna wrap it up with Shawn, guys, because I'm about to roll out in a second. But Shawn, do you want to tell everybody a couple of things? What is your live stream gonna be about tonight?
Well, everybody better get the coleslaw because I'm getting ready to have a barbecue on Just Pearly and those black men on the Manosphere Friday night. So I'm getting ready to take all of those black men who are a part of the Manosphere to the barbecue regarding this whole Just Pearly situation.
I don't even know who that heifer is. Oh, what? Who is that witch?
It's this white chick from Chicago who moved to the UK, and she's going out here. She got on the
Right.
show of Nick Fuentes, the white supremacist, and
Yeah.
you got all these black men buck dancing and bojangling, and I'm about to take all them Negroes to the barbecue.
Right. I saw something like that. I actually did see that, so I know who she is, but I never heard of her up until then, and she got called out for it. Nick Fuentes is a known white supremacist, and then she said, "I remember something about a comment about a black man. I think that worked for her, and they made a joke about him being late, like black people always late. That was the reference that she was doing, and people were laughing at it. Yeah, y'all. Here's a better thing. Why do we? How do these people get? These people get to be famous because we allow them to off our backs, like Vlad." And now her, you got brothers that are supporting her because she's. I see people say like she's replaced Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Please. Kevin Samuels had far more charisma than her.
What happened to your connect? His connection must have dropped.
All right, sorry, y'all. They giving me trouble with the Wi-Fi. That's just Pearly trying to kick me out. We're gonna wrap it up. Please donate to the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle if you feel like it. Support Shawn James by watching and watching his live stream tomorrow on YouTube under Shawn James. buy the Woman Crisis that's available. Also, I need you to buy some for me. You can buy the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Amazon Kindle. You can also go to the Patreon for content not shown here on YouTube, as well as you can advertise with our channel at gavin.jrich1@gmail.com and try it on chicken, meat, or fish. And all this goes great with every dish. Shawn, any last words?
Well, my new book, John Haynes Godbreaker, debuts tomorrow. So if you want to get your copy of John Haynes Godbreaker, you can pick it up on paperback and Kindle tomorrow. And I really want to get a good showing for the first book of the SJS Direct 2023 catalog. So I'm asking everybody to pick up John Haynes Godbreaker on Amazon.com and online booksellers today.
All right. All right, Shawn. Well, we appreciate it, man.
All right.
Very much. I appreciate it as always. This has been a great live stream with your boy, Gavin Reshaw, aka GBoo2786. We'll be back again probably next Thursday. I don't think I'm going to do a live stream Sunday, but I do want to point out before you all leave that if you are in the New Orleans area, ladies and gentlemen, you can still buy tickets to our April Fool's Laugh-a-thon. That is this Saturday, April 1st at 8:30 at the Verdict. Tickets are on sale now, $15. You might want to get them now before you pay $20 at the door. It's going to be a great show. Can't wait. It's going to be good. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be great. It's going to be good. So get your tickets now to support family. That's also another way to support me. If you can't make it to the show or you can't donate, you can buy a ticket. That's another option if you want. But I'm actually going to be eventually recording and putting up some of the videos on the Patreon and even some clips on YouTube available so people check out because it's going to be a great show. All right. Anyway, guys, I have the link on my YouTube page if you need to go and get that as well. Get those tickets. All right, Shawn, I appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And this has been another edition of Random Topic Thursdays here on channel GB2786. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get up out of here. I'll holla. Peace. Be one, be safe, and be blessed, family.